So I'm just going to be extremely short. I'm so happy we can be together today to speak about a very interesting topic. My name is Rachel. I'm a partner and managing director at Faber Novel in China. And so we're an innovation agency. And since July, we are part of the EY network. So we've been looking at innovation and particularly China-made innovation since a long time. And you know, the topics that we look at are definitely Chinese platforms, particularly WeChat, for example, and also Chinese brands. And we're really, a big part of our work is actually to support foreign brands to expand and to be successful in China thanks to digital. And so we worked very recently, we worked on a study that's called Chinafication, which is about succeeding on the market by localizing your brand. And so we looked at, you know, the C-beauty brands, we looked at ways that foreign brands have been successful in localizing on the market, because this is a really big topic. How much to localize? Should you localize at all? How much to localize? What are the key success factors and what are the best practices? So we're super happy to be with you today to engage in that conversation. We thought that was particularly relevant for the audience and for the members of the chamber. So we'll have two sections this evening. We'll have one section with the author of this study, who is Leah Wang, who will walk us through some highlights in order to nourish a little bit, you know, some of our thoughts. And then we have the chance to be joined by Laurent. So we'll have a fireside chat with Laurent, who's been, you know, localizing beauty brands, and to the point that he wanted to create his own brand here in China for China. So we're also very excited to welcome him as a founder of Miwo to walk us through his journey and what he also has found to be interesting in localizing beauty brands on the market. So without further ado, I'll give the mic to Leah, the author of Chinafication.
Merci de m'avoir invité. So today I'm very happy. Sorry. Yes, you get adjusted to the stage. So I'm very happy to share the top-level insights from our Chinafication playbook today. So to start with, I would love to give you context about why we developed this Chinafication playbook. So if you know Faber Novel, we are an innovation agency that with a full stack capabilities across consulting, marketing, and tech, which allows to be the expert of go-to-market strategies and activations for many new on-trend brands, especially those niche Western brands from big groups. So because we know the Chinese consumers, the trends, the platforms, so we can be their go-to partner to guide them through this route to China journey. And these days, we're getting more and more business tractions with these niche Western brands, particularly like the beauty and FMCG categories. That is one of the key reasons we crafted this Chinafication playbook in order to provide a localization framework or toolkit for these niche Western brands to find the right route to China strategies and launch plan and to sophisticate it in the Chinese market. So these are the three chapters in this playbook for us to share our observation, analysis, insights, and convictions. And the first chapter is framing, which is the macro context of the Chinese beauty landscape. Sorry, this one, right? Okay, perfect. It's much easier. So in the domestic beauty landscape, so the challenges and the opportunities coexist in the market, which call for more brand localization than ever before. And what make your investment on localization worthwhile? Here we share three convictions through the lens of market, trends, and consumers. So one, the market size. So the domestic beauty landscape is not only the largest market, but also a growing one with a huge dynamics and the momentum. And some of you will probably notice some niche fashion brands or labels are launching their beauty lines, such as Stella McCartney, Joans Novanten, and even Carolina Herrera, because they believe that beauty can continue to fuel their growth, their profitability, and even the brand equity. And the second is the trends. So the landscape is overall boosted by e-commerce and content commerce powered by live streaming. And this is further accelerated by pandemic. So now 23% of the purchase is being made online since 2021. And many brands are revving up their business investment on e-commerce, social commerce, and even private traffic in order to elevate the pandemic impacts on their offline business. And in which I think one of the breakout star is definitely the live streaming, which has quickly become one of the table stakes for many beauty brands to, one, to make commerce a socialized experience, and two, to unlock a new revenue streams. And during the lockdowns, it's interesting to know that actually everything can be live streamable. And last month, we actually delivered publish a new white paper for us to explore the future of live streaming, in which we believe that the future of live streaming will continue to transform with new formats of engagement and new toolkit of technology, so which will be at the forefront of innovations and growth for many beauty brands. And third is the consumer awakening. So Chinese consumers overall are very voracious about novelty, like new products, new content, new platforms, and new experiences, which drives brand busy with the product innovations, marketing campaigns, and also shoppingtainment experiences. And at the same time, Chinese consumers are growing more and more sophisticated. They are having these huge appetites around this personalization for this highly functional product efficacies fueled by this wellness economy. So for example, if you look at some of the subcategories like perfume or hair care, we will see some product innovations such as wearable perfume or hair shampoo that is customized only for curly or frizzy hair textures. So because of the uniqueness of this domestic market, its own economic growth trajectory, its consumer psychographics, together with COVID zero policy and data protection laws, is counterparts China to decouple itself from the rest of the world, which leads to the necessity for a China-specific operations for brands to stay more compliant, more relevant, and more competitive. So for many Western brands, like the cookie cutter strategies for both global and the local simply don't work. Instead, you need more China-specific strategies, investment plan, and also China-specific operations for you to continue to build, grow, and scale your business and to win over the Chinese consumers. And then if we zoom into the spectrum of consumers, which is one of the most interesting elements in the Chinafication recipes. So definitely we see some unique cultural roots with local flavors. So some cultural trends and content can go viral on social media in 1 minute. And here we share some extreme examples, but definitely we see a lot of subcultural trends spring up in this beauty landscape, such as like the new Chinese style, the ugly cool, the Y2K, the unisex, the e-boy, e-girl, etc. And in which we think like the one trend that is prominent is the unstoppable China proud that is fueled by the Gen Z with the growing cultural confidence. And they are leading the new way of shopping that is gonna be like, for example, they really grow this preferences over the homegrown brands compared to the Western brands. Now we're very proud of everything that is made in China and designed in China. So yeah, and one key message we need to deliver through this chapter is for many Western brands, your competitors are not the one you think. They're not your international key players, but these homegrown brands for 4 reasons. One is they're more powerful because they're enjoying more sizable and solid investment from the government, from the retailers, from the VCs, for them to like supercharge their product R&D and consumer acquisition capabilities. And second, they're more premium because many beauty brands are ambitious to build their premium brand credentials to target these very sophisticated Chinese consumers. And one trend that we identify by working with a lot of And local brands is not only for beauty categories, but also for other lifestyle categories. Domestic brands are making a huge brand makeover towards their journey in the premiumization. And 3 is popular, they're more popular. This is continuing to fuel or contributed by the young generations because they're having these growing preferences over domestic brands compared to the Western brands. And if you look at the sales volume of some homegrown brands such as Anta or Urban Revival or even Perfect Diary, they're definitely outperform their international peers. And last, they're more agile. So we talk about that consumers are very voracious about novelty. So in that regard, the C beauty brands are definitely more adaptable and more nimble than their Western counterparts in terms of product innovation, market campaigns, and the sales model. And in the second chapter, we dive into 8 C beauty brands that are gaining huge social and commercial tractions for us to decipher their winning formulas, like how they build their cult-like followings through the cultural relevancy, and what are the strategy implications for the niche Western brands to grow their Chinafication strategies. For example, how to launch a new product in the China market, how to localize your social content and campaigns, how to grow your local communities, and how to orchestrate a hyper-connected digital experiences. And in today's sharing session, we have handpicked 4 cases, more as a food for thought. So the first 2 cases about how local brands develop their new products to ride on these cultural trends, which is the national proud. And the other 2 cases about how the C beauty brands deliver its content storytelling to echo back with the consumer trends. So the first case is Uniskin, which is a doctor-funded and biotech company, also one of my favorite homegrown brands. So despite its a very young age, it has a very clear product positioning in anti-aging category in this very fragmented functional skincare market that is normally dominated by beauty conglomerates. And what we find interesting about this case is its new product development strategy in partnership with China Aerospace Science and Cultural Innovation. So it's one to write on or reflect this cultural confidence around our achievements on China's space program. And 2 is to honor its explorative spirit in science and innovation, which is something that is also strongly steeped in the brand values and brand purpose. And also in our observation, we find that IP collaboration or brand crossover is one of the key formulas in the strategy palette for many homegrown brands to win over the Chinese consumers. And the second case is Pichon, which is the first domestic skincare brand since 20s. And what we find interesting about this brand is its disruptive mindset to rejuvenate its brand perception with a strong cultural twist. So for example, in this case, as a brand that is unique, that is rooted in unique cultural legacy, it has joined hands with Ling, who is the first virtual idol with a Chinese face. So which is very quite a bold move for this brand to modernize its brand perception as the beauty from the East that champions the ingredients, innovations, the science, and technology. And on top of that, we also realize that the virtual influencers are making its huge headways together with the trending topics such as Web3, metaverse, and the future of live streaming. And the third case is the Beast fragrance, which is probably one of the kind and most successful retail concept in China. And this is a perfect example to showcase how this brand capitalize on the consumer trends to develop its new product and to deliver its product storytelling. So I think we have been all experiencing this loneliness epidemic through this social distance. So we're all craving for a human reconnection with the nature. So clearly we see a rising trend in this outdoor sports craze, such as skiing, clamping, frisbee, and land surfing, and in which definitely like the clamping has becoming one of the hypest lifestyles among the middle-class consumers and young generations. And this is why, this is how this brand brought out its new campaign collections to align with these consumer trends. And they even work with Red or Little Red Book, which is the top mind lifestyle platform, to rally around these camping lovers to discover this new collection in this camping season. And last case is Scent Library, which is a Chinese perfume label that has acquired by Push, which is the same Spanish group that has acquired a majority stake of Byredo earlier this year. And this is a case that showcases how this brand leveraged hot topics to deliver its product storytelling. For example, MBTI is arguably one of the hottest trend on social media, followed by an interview between Alan Gu and GQ magazine. And soon it became a hot topics. And it happened in everyday conversation among my peers. So MBTI is actually a test that helped the users to identify their preferences, their strengths, and their personalities. So this is how this brand explore the super code of these hot topics to recommend the different collections that caters to different personas or personalities. And last, as a key takeaway of this chapter, these are the 5 C ingredients that we have identified for this niche Western brands to spice up in their Chinafication recipe, which is around culture, content, collaboration, community, and the commerce. For example, how you decode this macro or even weak signal from this cultural and the consumer trends and translate that beautiful nuance and insights into your content storytelling to be more connected with the consumer psychographics. Or how you strategize a creative or IP collaboration with new players, new platforms, and new brands. Or how you target your specific communities and to grow your brand halos. Because for unique niche brands, usually you have a unique story to speak to a specific tribes, either it's a subculture groups or lifestyle groups, compared to these masstige or mega brands like Chanel or Tom Ford. And last is how you make your commerce a social experience, because Chinese consumers now are expecting a new level of connectivity and a new way of engagement. So in the chapter 3, we ideated a customized localization framework, and we tested with 3 successful niche Western brands. So here are the 5 pillars we identified in this localization framework to educate: 1, where it can be localized, and 2, how much you can localize through these 3 levels from translation to adaptation and all the way to creation. And let me walk you through these 5 pillars one by one. So firstly is brand DNA. So you can always localize your brand Chinese name to be more type friendly. I can give you a very concrete example. Christina Louboutin. It's very challenging for Chinese customers or even those educated ones to memorize and to search this English name on social media. But when you have an adorable nickname, such as Little Carrot, which is the shape of the lipstick, it's much easier for users to memorize your brand name and also to search on social media. And if you compare the search volume between the Chinese brand name versus the English brand name, you will see huge difference. And also for beauty categories, we also recommend brands to develop some nickname for its hero products or collections for 2 reasons. 1, easy to memorize as rule number 1. And 2 is to start build the user affinity around that collections. And second pillar is product. So there are different levels of product localization. The common practices is to localize your packaging and targeting these big gifting moments on the local calendar. For example, like 520, Chinese Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, and CNY. And for some brands with a stronger NDP capabilities, they can roll out China-specific products that is designed only for Chinese consumers, normally in partnership with a Chinese Chinese designers, artists, brands, and even mega KOLs. So I can give you an example of Panhaligans, which is one of our clients. So, Portrait Collection is their hero franchise in the market. And earlier this year, they have welcomed a new member into this portrait family, which is Arthur the dragon. So despite the product is not designed only for Chinese market, but it has a story of China settings. So this is about how the dragon, the author, embark its journey to the ancient of Chinese kingdom and to discover the wisdom from the east and to discover its inner power. So this is how we further localize this content storytelling for this character based on their global concept. And the third pillar is channel, which is probably the easiest element for brands to localize or to start with the Chinafication strategies, because you always need the e-commerce and social media platforms to forge your brand presence and to capture, connect, and convert your end consumers. However, so because Chinese consumers are very channel agnostic compared to their Western counterparts, therefore, an omni-channel mindset or strategies are very much needed for your brand to extend your brand halos in a wider consumer space. So here is a case about how Fenty Beauty collaborated with a virtual KOL on Red. So two messages through this case. So one, the Red is the key playground for beauty brands, especially those niche beauty brands, to start to build this social word of mouth around its hero products. And second, we are talking about virtual influencers. So Reddit is probably one of the first social media platforms to test the its own market NFT marketplaces called R Space to prepare itself for the Web3 and the metaverse experiences. And they also start to incubating its own virtual communities in partnership with this virtual or digital fashion designer and artists. And the fourth pillar is communication, which is the pillar that needs the brand to be very nimble in terms of your communication strategies, because you need to translate that cultural nuance, that hot topics, consumer trends, and also platform specificities into your content strategy to be fully localized and to fully resonate with the local consumers. And one key pain points that we identified with some niche Western brands are, one, they don't have enough global assets for us to localize on social media, or two, they don't have the resources or budget or operations that allow them to produce assets globally. And that is the case for Karina Hara. So in this case, we recommend them to work with a Chinese artist with a reasonable budget to develop the key visuals in their last year CNY campaigns. And another approach we would recommend to some of the niche brands is to co-create assets with some top or mega KOLs for them to recycle their creative assets on our own platforms and content. And last pillar is experience. So in China, experience is the new social currency. And because beauty brands are overall very trend driven, so they are always the early adopters of experience, right? New experiences with this client first approach or mindset. And definitely we have all kinds of creativity when it comes to experience, from online to offline, from digital to physical. For example, in the digital space, we have these experiences that is powered by AR, VR, XR, and also with the rise of NFT and essence of metaverse. Now everything are becoming more 3D and more virtualized. We have virtual avatar, we have virtual procession, virtual space, virtual try-on. So this actually opens up new opportunities and possibilities for the brands of tomorrow to have this next wave thinking in terms of how you can better engage with your next gen of consumers. And in the offline space, we can have this concept around retailtainment in the format of like pop-up stores or exhibition, which is the case of Diptyque, who has launched a grand exhibition to celebrate its 6th anniversary last year, which is a very immersive brand space to invite your brand lovers to navigate through the brand artistry, the brand storytelling, and also the sensational experiences in this brand universe. And here is the essence of the playbook. So we did a fun exercises with the team tested our localization framework with 8 cult favorite niche Western brands across skincare, makeup, fragrance, and hair care categories. And so you see for each pillar, we even give it some tactical granularity for us to do the scoring for each brand. And the brand scoring will help us to identify, one, their localization maturity across translation, adaptation, and creation. And second is their localization key focus. So yeah, and in the food playbook, we actually did some analysis in terms of the observation. But today, I don't want to overwhelm you with all the data and also the analytical insights, but it's just the key takeaways of this chapter. So based on the observation or the successful recipes from this 8 niche Western brands, these are the 4 must-have recipes for you to win over the Chinese consumers, which are product storytelling, influencer program, brand crossover, and O2O experiences. And under each pillar or recipes, we even give you a very specific ingredients for you to test based on different level of creativity and investment. But of course, I mean, because it varies from brand to brand. You always have your different brand trajectories, a different business agenda and investment planning. So after this presentation, if you're interested, we are happy to have open exchange to discover some of the ideas that cater to your specific brand. So in the next couple of 5 minutes, I'm going to wrap up with a very concrete example of Penhaligans, so which is one of our favorite and also one of our previous clients. So probably some of you are the brand lovers. In case you didn't know this brand, it's a British niche perfume brand with 150 perfume heritage and expertise. And these are their hero products, which is the Portrait Collection. So here is their route to China roadmap, which is not that unique compared to most of the peers. So in 2019, they established their brand presence on the key social media platforms, which is Weibo and WeChat. And they also start to sell on Tmall Global. And in 2020, they discovered the potential of Red to start to build their brand halos in these community-driven platforms to start create this word of mouth around its hero products. And in 2021, it's the same year, we kick off the partnership with this brand through 3 milestone projects. Like I can give you some context here. It's also echoed back with my brief introduction about our company. So we started the collaboration with the consulting projects to contextualize its 3-year growth scenarios and investment plan to align with its ambition, which is to become top of mind niche perfume brands in China. And they successfully did that last year. And then our marketing team and tech team played the role to, 1, elevate their brand exercises building on the content storytelling, and 2 is to enable its social commerce powered by WeChat programs. So the users can shop inside the WeChat ecosystem on the WeChat stores. And at the same time, you probably noticed that they transformed their business model with Tmall from global to domestic, which also signals a huge commercial traction for this brand. So now they're ranked as top 3 niche perfume brands next to brands such as Diptyque and L'Artisan Parfum. And at the same year, they're growing more ambitious in their offline business. So they're ratcheting up business investment in offline expansion. So you see by 2021, they have 3 offline stores in tier 1 cities with 1 pop-up store in IFC shopping mall. And this year they have expanded to 5 more boutique stores in the top tier cities. And by 2023, they were open to total 20 stores or boutiques across the nation. And last slide is about their localization key focus. So the first, which is very much aligned with our 4 must-have recipes. So the first one is product storytelling. So in marketing, you will hear this word here, there, everywhere. But for this brand, storytelling is everything in their brand universe because like every bottle has a unique stories. And our job is really to help them to localize the global stories with local flavors based on the local customer taste and local calendars. because usually they only provide this global story outline or skeleton, but we need to use our imagination and creativity to fresh out the content for the characters. And on top of that, because you also know, like on social media, the customer acquisition cost is very high. So it's very important that you always engage with the existing users. So on top of the content storytelling, we also are helping them to develop some engagement program. I can give you one example, which is one example is the Gentleman Club. Because if you look at the brand personalities of Penhaligon, so it can be portrayed as a British man who is witty but quirky. So this is how we use this program to educate the users about the perfumery rituals and some sophisticated vocabularies about British heritage, about perfume, through the voices of Penhaligons. So this is one way to do the engagement and the education with your consumers beyond your product discovery. And second is new product development. So basically on quarterly basis, they will have new products roll out in China. And since last year, because this is also one trend that is fueled by pandemic, people start to grow this consciousness around personal care and well-being. So that's how this brand start to prioritize its home collections, such as candle or shampoos, which also one of the key perfect products to focus on platforms such as Little Red Book. And last is online and offline experiences. So in the online space, they have this, which is in the second screenshot, which is called fragrance profiling. It's also one of the key engagement toolkits. It's something like the MBTI trend, but in a very Penhaligons way. So it's a mini game that helps you to find the perfect perfume that fits your personalities or your giftees' personalities. And in the offline, they really focus on these bespoke services around the art of gifting, because the Chinese consumers, like the gifting is one of the key shopping occasions for the perfume categories. So yeah, so this is pretty much what I need to share today with this presentation, and I hope you will enjoy this. And next, I will welcome Luhan and Rachel to the stage for their fireside chat, and I will let them introduce themselves.
Thank you so much. I've heard Leah present every time. I feel I discover new stuff. So thank you so much, Leah. Thank you so much. So great. Do you want to test that mic to make sure that we're all okay? Before that, testing. Hello? Do you want to try? Before that, is there any question for Leah before we move? I'll take maybe just one question before we move to Laurent, or you want to keep it for later? Precious question coming in later. Okay, big teasing. Excellent. So, maybe we can try. So I'll start with my introduction. One of the things that we really like to do at the Chamber, especially in the marketing working group, is to look at what large organizations are doing, but also give a platform for up-and-coming entrepreneurs and founders that are disrupting the market and doing something meaningful, something they're passionate about, and something new. And so we have the chance to welcome Laurent, he used to be one of the big corporate guys. He launched the local R&D and laboratory of L'Oréal 15 years ago here for makeup products. And L'Oréal, as you know, is a French brand and one of the largest players in the beauty market, including here in China, extremely successful, also because of their localization strategy, localizing all the way to product, thanks to people like Laurent. And after that, and one of the things that we will explore a lot today is the new company that he founded, which has multiple products, but particularly one that's maybe the first hook that we will start the discussion around, which is Miwo, which is a Web3 NFC-enabled lipstick that's designed in China for China. And I think if I can just move one slide down, so we can just see Laurent, yes, and his name and his company. So before that, I would love to hear, because you're kind of an expert on the topic, so from the sharing that you've heard right now, what was there something that particularly resonated with you in all the content that we've shared, whether it's around strategies or whether it's around sea beauties, or any highlights that have resonated with you tonight, and maybe why?
Thank you for the invitation first. Yeah, I think everything was to the point, very straight, and give a very a 360 vision of what's happening. What I guess I can add on top, and that's my reaction here, is timelines. It's all happened in the recent years, month, or I mean, and that's part of my experience here, because as you gently mentioned, I'm here since a long time. And when I opened this R&D 18 years ago, the time scale were quite large, and now it's running fast. And all what you've seen here and presented here is extremely new. And that's probably the link I can make with a big company compared to, and the need of the Chinafication and having local actor helping you, because when you are in the headquarters, it's very, very difficult to even conceptualize what's happening here with all these digital world, and how we can make business, how we can get access to consumer. It's even impossible. So I even remember I have some anecdote on that more in the lab side. And I remember, so 18 years ago, I came back, every whatever 2 months or 3 months to the headquarters. So you have 200 top manager from the R&D, and you say, you just build something where there's nothing, right? And you say, I think that, yeah, what's happening here is gonna, change a bit our way to conceive the cosmetic. And they say, okay, yeah, go back to your China, and it happens. No, I'm exaggerating. They don't do that. Of course, we work together on that. But the thing is that it took time to change, or I see the evolution on product side. And what's happening, especially now on distribution channel and marketing side, is so fast. You have to be here to understand and to catch the waves. And it's a bit what we saw with Perfect Diary. I mean, that's an example. I mean, in terms of brand happening here, the giant, I was there still in L'Oreal, the giant like Maybelline, saw arriving this strange brand, and addressing the consumer a way that is unbelievable, like looking at the WeChat, those group chat, everybody having a 4 or 5 phone to answer the people in the private traffic, right? It was unbelievable, and they took market share very rapidly, right? And you cannot imagine that, you cannot conceive that if you're not here, and if you don't have the power of decision here, not in headquarters.
I totally agree. I would just bounce back maybe on 2 points. One, you talk about the ability to take decisions locally. I think this is very connected with the decoupling and the increasing difficulty for people outside of China to understand what's going on in China. It was really the case, but this year is even stronger since 2020. And since this year is even stronger. What you see that's interesting, just if we stay on the L'Oreal topic, is that they have actually, they're used to have Asia headquarters to be Singapore, maybe even Hong Kong. And now they are bringing like North Asia headquarters to be led by China. And that's, I think, a huge move. That's very, very powerful. And I think the second one you mentioned, Perfect Diary, who knows this brand? Okay, yeah, a big part of the crowd. Yeah. So we have people who know that study it, and we have people who buy it, like the 4 people here. So yeah, totally took the market by storm. They raised huge amount of money. They were using the OEMs of the biggest beauty brands in Europe, actually producing some of their products in Europe. They did IP collaboration with Met. I mean, they were global in their mindset from the beginning and really pioneered private traffic. So absolutely with you on this one. This is beautiful example of how we can be taken by surprise by how fast Chinese beauty brands are actually executing and innovating. And so to center things back around you, can you walk us through kind of your journey from your PhD in France to, you know, through China, big company, creating your own company and everything that happened in between?
Okay. I'm gonna make it short. I don't want to bother you with my my personal journey too much, but yeah, I went from hardcore science to more whatever I am now. Very classical journey, like engineer, and then the PhD, and then working with the French nuclear agency, and then a big group like Ron Poulenc at that time. That was it. So it gives you my age actually when I say Ron Poulenc. And then at that, something happened at one point. I wanted to get close to the product and more than the ingredients where I was. So then I came to L'Oréal. And at that time, I said, "Yeah, I want to go abroad." I mean, it was like my, you know, when you meet the HR, say, "Why you come to L'Oréal?" Because I don't want to stay here. Okay, and then they punished me. They sent me to China, and I was so happy to be there. It was like doing something from scratch. You had nothing, no building, no teams, and then we built a team for product evaluation. For product production, so the cookers, the chef, and that was kind of an adventure, And then what I did after was to look after, to build, because they say, okay, you like to do strange stuff, so I give you another one, that is to take care of building all the network for OEM, all the vendors, as we say, manufacturing product, and having innovation, also producing innovation all over the world. So that was kind of a funny adventure also. And at one point I say, yeah, I like to travel all over the world, but I think everything is happening in Asia. So please bring me back to Asia with this kind of adventure. And then I relocalized in Asia for growing and capturing innovation. We can talk hours on that. I mean, from Korea, Japan, and even Thailand at one point, and China. So there was a lot of good memories. And and then I guess at one point I wanted to get out of the big corp and live my own life.
What a strange idea.
Yeah,
Very strange idea.
Yeah, I realized that after. Yeah, we never. People don't tell you that when you have the transition, but
absolutely. And so, if we just stop a minute around your experience, particularly at L'Oréal, because this is so connected with localizing brands. So, what was your main mission when you set up the lab here? What was the process of product adaptation, and how did consumers actually react to that? Because this was the first time that such a large organization was starting to develop products here and for here, right?
Okay. So we're doing archaeology now here. Because of time scale, it's 18 years ago, so it's like centuries ago. But because of that, we were performing ground studies, like what are the skincare, the skin tones we have in China, what's the typology of skin tones in China? We didn't have this study yet. We published that later on. So I give this example, like we started by that. And the second was try to understand the Chinese consumers, their behavior, their approach to cosmetic. And then we discovered that we arrived to a very virgin territory where it was not the mother to teach the daughter how to use cosmetic. That was the brand. And that was a shock because, of course, in the rest of the world, it's absolutely not this way. So, which is not the way anymore. But at that time, it was the brand. It's not the way anymore. And and then how we cook different recipes was based on those two factors: the shades that are adapted to the skin tone, the textures and the routine adapted to the needs. One of the, I remember, and it's back to the comment I did 5 minutes ago, on China, on Chinese consumer, making us being better and changing the routine and the product. Again, what was the example you look around in Asia was Korea and Japan. So Chinese consumers, they wanted to have the same results as Chinese and Korean consumers, but not in 1 hour and a half routine and 16 steps. So they want to have the same, okay, give me 20 minutes and 3 steps. And I can tell you that's a challenge when you are in the lab. They say, okay, you do the same as the sophistication and all the layering on the Japanese, but in 3 layers. So, and then I can give you one example of, it was the BB cream. I don't know if people knows this BB cream, Blemish Boom BB cream. So it started, all the stories started from Korea, like again 20 years to 18 years ago at that time, really at that time when we started the lab. And I remember we went to a historic travel to Korea to understand what is this BB cream. And then it was a tube, it was hand skin. So you have a tube, you press it, you have a draggy, heavy paste, and then it's awful. I mean, in terms of consumer perception, it's so awful. And then it gives it's a kind of grayish tone. I say it's not possible. I mean, how come those Korean people buy so many of those weird cream, right? So I bought a few tubes. We went to the lab and we had a makeup artist, the lab management, the chef, so the formulators, and I have all the consumer evaluations. Say, okay, let's go together and see what's happening here. It's weird. And then we go deep in science and analyze what's happening. And what's happening was it's a natural way to get more brightening tone. And I stop here because I can go deep into science here, and then we realize how we need to take this technology and this idea of new desaturated shades to China and launch it to Maybelline. So yeah, that was all this kind of stuff. We have many stories on how we adapt shades and product and textures and routines for China.
A long way around, huh? French people going to Korea to bring technology to develop makeup for Chinese. But that's, I think that's particularly at that moment, probably some of the innovation was coming from there. And it's very interesting. We've seen really a shift over here as well. Yeah. How do you think, I guess your answer will be yes, but then how have you seen Chinese consumers approach to beauty in general, maybe makeup, skincare, perfume, whatever it is? Has it changed since, that time? And if yes, how?
I should say yes. Yeah, I mean, I think again, it's linked to the where you come your education from. And it has been a lot from the brand. And gradually, with the KOL rise, it was like, okay, no, I prefer to trust my peers than the brand. So I think that has been one of the main drastic change I've seen in those years, and I think it's still a driver where those KOLs that were very genuine at the beginning started to be business dealer, like our dear Lichachi is a beautiful business deal. You go there not to understand how to work to use the product, but more how to have 20, 30, 50% less bargain on the product, right? So those KOL are now shift to business, which leads to the room again free for how can I get the curated information to make to choose my product. So I think I've seen this kind of movement in China.
Totally. I remember, so I think what you're saying is absolutely right. And I remember a very striking meeting that I was having with Timo and with one of the brands from L'Occitane, not L'Occitane, sorry, Yves Rocher Group. which is Sabon, which is a Israeli brand that was booming on Tmall at the time that we had that meeting. And it was super striking how the Tmall team was so business driven. And they were like, everything we do is increasing the number of steps in the routine of Chinese consumers so that they would purchase more product. That was their number one obsession. How can we go from 3 steps to 4 steps? And people who already have 5 steps, how can we add another step? Maybe it's the eyelash, maybe it's, it's the crayon around the lips. It has to be something else. But that was totally the obsession. And on the other side, you have like Yves Rocher Executive Committee that are 50 people, white men. And they are like, oh, but we are all about sustainability and responsible consumption. And there was like 2 worlds like being completely, they ended up doing business together, but during the meeting, it wasn't obvious it was going to end up this way. But it really made me think about that, right? That's, one of the key elements that has been a major growth driver is routine and beauty routines and the number of steps of the beauty routine and how, there are forces like to push Chinese consumers to sophisticate their beauty routine.
I agree, yes, but because we have this huge trend all around the world to do exactly the opposite, there's a pressure on one side, the pressure on the other side. So I don't know who's going to win, but something going to change here. So you can be isolated in making the product fitting your consumer, yes, but the consumer, they also are educated looking also outside, right? And something going to happen here. So I'm not so sure you can continue this consumerism expansion where the whole rest of the world is doing the opposite. And when the clean beauty or all the, the sustainability start to raise not only at the consumer level, listening what's happening outside, but at the government level here too. So we're going to have a challenge here on this routine expansion probably will come to an end. I do believe, my own belief.
So I think this is a great transition to actually get to discover more about what you're trying to do with Totemist and how this is, connected with your purpose and kind of your passion, I guess. So I would love to get to understand what you are trying to do. What is the concept with this brand? How is the innovation process going for you? What's the connection between the product and between the meaning that you will explain us? And so I think we've got the product here, and I think we've got also slides. So, and I know you haven't seen the slides, but you gave me the slides. So normally you shouldn't be too surprised about your own slides, but let's see. You will surprise the ones. Exactly. We tell a new story with the same slides. So if you have any complaints about the slide selection, Niska is responsible for the slide selection.
Okay, sir.
So yeah. Is this a good one?
Yeah, I have to remanage my... what can I say? Yeah, actually, it's true that this adventure is, because it's a personal adventure, a personal journey to start with, it's linked to my to the history. You ask question of where I'm coming from. So yes, I'm a technical guy. I have a certain experience, and at one point of my career, I said, okay, I want to do something different. And that obviously will carry a bit of myself. So it has to carry a bit of technology. That's one point. And also because of this journey, at one point of your journey, you say, okay, maybe I've been receiving so much, can I give back? So I make a little bit bracket because maybe it could raise some ideas and help for the future. When I leave the big group, I also invest my time. I'm still investing my time in an association to help handicapped people to recover movement through science and motor handicapped people. And I'm saying that as an advertisement because I would love to do this association here to build a sport room for handicapped people using science. End of the bracket. But what I'm saying that is because the idea is when you start to put the finger into giving back, you cannot go backwards. So the project has to have a component that is to help our people, us, to be better. So I think that's the fundamentals of what's happening in this project. And you talk a lot about consumerism, about this number of steps and so on. And I answered, yeah, but there's the sustainability is here. So obviously the project that I would carry would have a dimension in sustainability. But because I positioned the project in the luxury environment for many reasons, I will perhaps say why. Luxury environment is respect of your consumer. So anyway, you have to have a sustainability dimension when you go luxury. That otherwise that doesn't make sense. That doesn't loop back. So yes, there's a sustainability component, but sustainability, if you reflect on it, is doing less bad for the planet. It's not doing good. It's doing less bad because consumerism is still producing objects that you put in the nature, right? So we do less bad. I don't say it's bad. It's good to do it, right? But we have to get conscious of that and not being lured by some kind of heavy marketing. Oh, you do good for planet. No, we do less bad. So what I've said, what the project turnaround is, okay, can we do less bad for the planet? And second, can we do good for people? Okay, so you have all the component of how the project started with. And then the project is, I need to find the transparent again. Yeah, then it's to build here in China, design in China, a brand and a product, using all the ecosystem that is in advance in China, technical ecosystem for the digital part, for example, and make it premium luxury. And then to bring some meaningfulness in the object. So that's why we have this guy looking at the object, like what is that? And I started in cosmetics or lipstick, so we can make it different. We've make something different in the object himself, but also in how the object is meaningful to other people. I don't know what the next slide. So I don't say everything. That's why. Okay. All right. So quickly, because it's a luxury positioning lipstick, it has to have an amazing formula to go with it. So maybe I will make a detour saying that if you look at the luxury lipsticks now on the market, the cost of good of this lipstick is very low, although you buy it very expensive. And I will not give numbers, but it's very low. And no, but it's the way it is. So my bet was, can we put a lot of money in the product for the product to speak by himself? Because I'm poor, I don't have the millions to put on marketing to say it's a beautiful product. I would prefer that the product speaks for himself by putting enough money inside to have it as a very high level of technicity, of usage and benefit for the consumer. So this is a detour saying that then the formula is quite expensive here, but it's a very nourishing formula. And then we have developed, thanks to also the partner and logistics supply chain, we organized hundreds of shades to give the woman the ability to express themselves. So I don't know, then the next
100 colors, it's extraordinary.
Yeah, it's difficult to this, but anyway. And then it's a beautiful object. So we wanted to have a design object. So we worked on the design, something modern, and something when you have it, an object you have in hands, you understand right away how luxury it is. So I have one here.
It's very heavy.
No, it's not very heavy.
It's quite heavy for the size of.
Yeah, you have it heavy. It's heavy because you don't have the gearline, right? So it is. It has some weight because I wanted the product to exist. It's the body. It has to have a body. Of course, you have the spirit, the mind. These are all of shades, but you have the body, and then you have the mind with the shades. So and then we worked, and that was a challenge also. I can share that with you. It's a challenge here to work with partners able to understand the level of details you want to have to make a luxury product. So we worked on the noise, like the BMW door that you right. We worked on the position of the magnet. We worked on many things here to make the object, when you have it in hands, you want to keep it in hands. Something very organic. And then yes, we have Brancusi inspiration. We have a lot of art and design inspiration to make it beautiful.
And other inspirations maybe for the product? Maybe?
No, natural. It's natural.
Okay.
All natural.
I think half of your advertising are playing around that fact that this might be a sex toy. Like this is really a lot of your creatives are around that, which I find extremely fun and very daring and very differentiating.
But to tell you the truth, we never thought on anything like that. We really no. I mean, our development was really on how it could be natural shape, and it starts with a bean. Actually, it was with a bean. Yeah. Can you have the and this one? So I talk about this. This has a body. You have the mind where you can express your mind with all the shades to explain the woman can express their feelings and but also and that's the part I wanted the project to be meaningful. We included a soul, so it's a real body here. So we included the soul in it. And how to include the soul in that is because we have inside here a little NFC chipset. So for the physicians, the people in physics here, having antenna into a Faraday cage, so a metallic cage is a challenge. So we have to work on a lot of difficulties. So we can, for science people, we can discuss later. But the fact is that when you scan the object with your phone, something pop up, and what is popping is a text, a video, a few photos, even an audio that the people who give it to you or to yourself put inside. So, and that's where the idea is to have a consumerism object, which is the first of its kind, where the consumer can put their own emotion inside and transfer this emotion to someone. And the object now, there's many side effects here. One of the effects is back to the sustainability, because now this object is meaningful for the people having it. You don't throw it away. So the life cycle becomes from months to infinity. And even you can pass it from generation to generation. I don't know how, if you remember the voice of your grandma, but now you could. So it's really like about having intention of love being transferred and touch the other. So that's why the first slide you put was on how can we change the life of the lipstick, but also can we change the way we make gifting. So the way we make gifting is we are participating to the gift, and putting something meaningful inside is able to touch people. So that's the whole. So mine, I can show you how it works with mine. So without the microphone, sorry for the basically what happens is you have all the WeChat pop-up first, and I don't know for the network, but basically it's an NFC reader that you have in your phone. You see the pop-up here. I don't know how much the camera will see anything, but what you see appearing is here in the background. You see the photo, and for myself, I have a video of my daughter singing a song for me, and that's very meaningful for me because they're not here with me, and it's very touching. So it means that this lipstick now, which is now a lip balm,
The new,
Soon,
very new. This is
soon
prototype.
Soon
still.
the lip balm coming to make it a real universal gift, not only for women but for men and so on.
Not only for women and for men who like to wear lipsticks with colors,
Exactly.
but also for men who like transparent lipstick.
So voilà, this is the idea, to impact a little bit at my own very own small scale, with a team or own small scale, impact people and having people getting bonding to others, emotional bonding. That's the goal.
Very, very cool. I'm okay. No, that's
it. Okay, that's you.
That's
That's
yeah,
you
yeah,
now.
yeah. But so yeah, I absolutely love the story of Totemis, and I just can see how much value you are bringing and how much experience shaped what you are doing now. And I hope that's gonna resonate with certain people. And I hope the industry might go towards something more meaningful and hopefully more sustainable. And so yeah, so that's one of the things that I was quite impressed with this. Do we have any questions in the audience for maybe I will bring Leah back just to sit here and I can take questions in the meantime. Maybe we can get some help to look if there are questions online at the same time, and to take some questions for Laurent as well, if anyone. Don't feel shy. Everybody thinking, is it really also a sex toy? Or any of your thoughts? I don't know that any reactions to things that have been shared tonight, or any projects that you have ongoing where you're looking for brainstorm or feedback.
Cross branding. Come on after cross branding.
Yes.
Your company gift. There's a lot of things we can discuss.
True. Yeah. Okay, that's a plentiful but shy audience. So I guess maybe we can move the questions and further interactions for the drinks. That usually helps to have drinks to continue the discussion. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you, you guys online, for being with us, and looking forward to seeing you and to discussing more in a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you to you.